All right, so India is building this huge, multi-layered machine to fight pollution. Today, we're going to pop the hood and see exactly how this thing works, from the laws that give it a backbone to the tech that acts as its brain. So, right off the bat, here's the big challenge, right? How does a country that's growing like crazy, we're talking new cities, new industries, not destroy its environment in the process? It's a total tightrope walk, and the complex system we're about to unpack is basically India's balancing pole. So how in the world do you even start to build a system to manage something this huge? Well, you start with the foundation. And in this case, that's the legal and regulatory backbone that's designed to hold this entire thing together. Okay, let's meet the key players. You've got the Central Pollution Control Board, or CPCB, and then its partners in every single state, the SPCBs. The easiest way to think about them is like the operating system for India's environmental rules. The CPCB in the capital sets the main strategy, and the state boards are the ones on the ground, making it work and tweaking the rules for local needs. And just to be clear, these guys aren't just making suggestions. No, they have real teeth. They're the ones setting the standards for clean air and water. They keep an eye on factories to make sure they're complying, and they have the full legal power of the huge Environment Protection Act of 1986 behind them. They are the enforcers. All right, with that foundation in place, now we can get into the frontline battles, the direct fight against pollution in the air, in the water, and all the waste we produce. This is where all that policy gets real. First up, air pollution. India's big strategy here is the National Clean Air Program, or NCAP. And what's smart about it is that instead of a one-size-fits-all plan, it really targets specific cities because, it recognizes that this is a local problem that affects millions of people every single day. And this isn't just some vague promise to make the air cleaner. Nope, the NCEP has a concrete, measurable goal. They want to slash the most harmful stuff, that particulate matter, by 20 to 30%. And they're doing this across more than 130 of the country's most polluted cities. That is a seriously ambitious target. Just as critical as the air we breathe is, of course, the water we drink. To protect this absolute lifeblood, India has launched these massive national missions. You've probably heard of the Namami Gange Mission to clean the iconic Ganges River, but there's also the National River Conservation Plan, or NRCP, which takes that same playbook to other vital rivers, tackling everything from sewage to industrial runoff. And that brings us to the third front, waste. India's approach here is pretty systematic. Instead of just one big clunky policy, there are dedicated rules for different kinds of waste. So you have specific regulations for the solid waste from our homes, totally separate ones for plastic waste, and then these super specialized rules for all the electronic waste from our old phones and gadgets. It's a really targeted, modern way of doing things. But here's the thing, government rules can't fix this alone. I mean, not even close. For this system to actually work, it needs two other major players to get on board: the industries that are often the source of the pollution and the communities that feel the effects the most. For industry, the strategy is a classic carrot and stick. The stick is pretty straightforward. Companies have to adopt cleaner technology and treat their waste. But the carrot is just as important. There's this thing called the Perform, Achieve, and Trade Scheme, or PAT, which basically rewards companies that go above and beyond on energy efficiency. They can actually sell their extra energy credits. It literally pays to be green. And then you have the power of the people. The Swachh Bharat mission is one of the biggest behavioral change campaigns anywhere in the world. Seriously, it's all built on this idea that real lasting change doesn't just come from top-down laws, but from getting communities involved and making environmental awareness just a normal part of daily life. So we have the laws, the programs, and the people. But these pieces don't just exist in their own little bubbles. What makes this a truly 21st century system is how it weaves all those different threads together using technology and data. Technology is basically the nervous system that connects everything. The perfect example is the National Air Quality Index, or AQI. It puts real-time, color-coded data about the air quality right onto everyone's smartphone. This creates this incredible feedback loop. People like you and me are empowered with information to demand action, and the policymakers get the data they need to actually respond. And this is where you can see how it all clicks together. The data from digital monitoring helps fuel community engagement. That public pressure then helps drive the big national push toward green energy. And all of this is being done with an eye on global climate goals. Each part makes the other parts stronger, and you end up with a system that's way more resilient and innovative.
When you really boil it all down, the philosophy behind this entire structure is about way more than just a bunch of rules. It's about building a system that's tough, that includes everyone, and that's always looking for new ideas, making sure that protecting the environment is a core part of India's growth, not just some annoying afterthought.
So, we've seen how all these pieces fit together to create this really comprehensive framework. And it leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? With a system designed to be this complete, what comes next? What's the next frontier for environmental protection, not just for India, but for the whole world? Definitely something to think about.